Hello and welcome to another edition of the Bastard Review. This time around, I'm looking at ECW's Wrestlepalooza 97. This event took place on June 6th, 1997 in the ECW Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We start off the night with Joey Styles and Rick Rude in the ring discussing what's going to happen during the show. And Rick does some really good commentary. I like him. It's a shame that he didn't seem to stick around with ECW for very long. Our first match of the night is Shane Douglas defending his ECW World Television title against a newcomer, Chris Chetti. This was a pretty good match. Chris really showed his wrestling prowess here. I was really impressed. He made some rookie mistakes, but I can't fault him because he's a rookie. Shane did a really good job of playing the heel in this match and really got the ire of the crowd. Just a really good match. Great way to start the show. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. After that, the Pitbulls take on the FBI, and I'm surprised it's not a double dog collar match. This was an okay match. There wasn't really anything special going on about it. The FBI got in some really great heel tactics, like keeping the ref distracted while they attacked the legal man in the ring. Pretty much just a paint-by-numbers match. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. The next match is the Dudley Boys taking on Sandman and Balls Mahoney, and the winner of this match will face the Eliminators for the tag team titles later on in the show. This was a boring brawl. I mean, I've seen this a million times already. It's just a brawl with insert your wrestlers here. There's really nothing special here. It's just pretty boring. And I'm not surprised by the winners of this match. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10. After that, Terry Funk defended his ECW World Heavyweight title against Chris Candido. Now, originally, this was supposed to be Stevie Richards, but he had a spinal collar injury, I believe, so Chris was taking over in his place. This wasn't a very good title match. It felt like it was drawn out and ended too quickly. It started out pretty good with both men in the ring and showing the crowd what they could do, but over the course of the match, it started to slow down. They went out into the audience, they came back, and then suddenly it's the end of the match and it's over with. Now, I realize that Funk is 51 here, so he can't really go in the ring for a long amount of time, but still, I would have kept it to the ring. I would have had them do a bunch of stuff in a short amount of time to wow the audience and then give the finish. I think it would have worked a lot better, and I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't get that match. I love both wrestlers, and they're competent. I expected more, and I hate to do this, but I gotta give this a 4 out of 10. Seriously, it could have been a lot better. And if you think I'm full of shit, look no further than the video itself. The audience at the end of the match are saying bullshit, and I gotta agree with them. After that, Tommy Dreamer takes on Raven in what's touted as their last match together. The story is that Raven is leaving, I think, for WCW, and he's giving Tommy one last shot at finally beating him. Up until this point, Tommy had never won whenever going against Raven. This was an okay match. It was a brawl. I wasn't expecting any less. At the beginning, Raven starts to walk away. I guess he changed his mind or something. And Tommy goes after him and attacks him, and they just brawl in the audience for a while. It's the third match in a row where the competitors have gone into the audience, so it feels like it's overkill at this point. But, it was an okay match. I'd take it or leave it. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. Now, the interesting stuff happens after the match. The lights go out, and when they come back up, Rob Van Dam is in the ring, and he attacks Tommy Dreamer. And just when Tommy starts to get the upper hand, the lights go out again, and when they come back up, Sabu is in the ring. And then they both beat up on Tommy. And then he starts to get the upper hand again, and the lights go out a third time, and when they come back up, WWF's Jerry the King Lawler is in the ring. Now, the storyline here is that to help advertise for the Barely Legal pay-per-view, Vince McMahon agreed to showcase some of the wrestlers on WWF programming. Well, Jerry took great offense to this because he thought ECW stood for extremely crappy wrestling. So Sabu and Rob Van Dam, Mr. Monday Night, sided with Jerry, and they became pretty much instant heels with the ECW crowd. So you've got these three guys beating up on Tommy Dreamer in the ring, and all of ECW's roster comes out and tries to stop them, and they all get beaten down. Until Taz comes out, and he manages to clear the ring, and he threatens to stay in the ring unless Sabu will come out and face him in a rematch. Well, it takes a few seconds, but eventually Sabu comes out, and we get the rematch from Barely Legal. Before I go into the match, I want to make a comment. Whoever is on commentary with Joey Styles is crap. I don't know if it's Rick Rude, but if it is, I'm really disappointed. He was good at the beginning, but he is crap on the mic calling matches. I do not like him at all. The Taz Sabu match is pretty good. It's not as good as the one from Barely Legal, but there are reasons why it's shorter than the Barely Legal match, which I will go into afterwards. Both men did pretty decently, and I can understand why they went with the ending they did. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. Now, prior to the match, when Taz was in the ring demanding Sabu, Shane was up in the Eagle's Nest. I think that's what they call it. Anyway, he was watching all the matches, and he got on the mic and told Taz to leave or to get out of the ring, and Taz wouldn't have it. He demanded Sabu. Well, after the match, Shane does the same thing and tells Taz to leave the ring. Well, Taz responds with, "Why don't you come down here and make me leave?" And so they go back and forth for a couple minutes, and things escalate into a title match for Shane's ECW Tag Team title. The two of them will face. If Taz wins, he gets the title, and if Shane wins, Taz needs to leave ECW for 60 days. But the trick is, Taz has to make Shane tap out in 3 minutes. So yeah, very short match, but I loved the ending. I'm not going to rate this because it's hardly a match. I mean, it's probably just an extension of the previous match. But it's definitely worth mentioning. Finally, we come to the main event. Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley taking on the Eliminators for the ECW World Tag Team titles. Unfortunately, I believe days earlier, Perry Saturn had injured his leg. I guess he had broken it in a few places, so he was unable to compete. And at first, the Eliminators were going to come down and hand over the titles to the Dudleys. But Perry Saturn pleaded with DCW owner Todd Gordon to allow the match to happen, basically turning it into a 2-on-1 handicap match. This was a really great match. It was short, but there was some really cool stuff that happened in here. Cronus does a great 450 splash onto Devon Dudley at one point. Just totally flawless. It was beautiful to see. And Perry Saturn proves how much of a crazy man he is. Just really a phenomenal match. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. Overall, ECW's Wrestlepalooza 97 is a barely above average show. You've got some really good matches here, but they're hampered by matches that are nothing more than boring brawls. ECW compilists will want this for their collection, but if you're just an average wrestling fan, there's only a couple matches here that you'll want to grab. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. Thank you for listening. Please tune in again to another Bastard review when I review another wrestling DVD in my collection or anything else that crosses my path.